welcome to another podcast with Inspired Personal Health and Fitness. How are we doing, guys?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Is everybody fitting well today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Very well.
Yeah, all good, all good. I'm very motivated.
You're very motivated. Well,
motivated.
Perfect. Mr. Motivator, that is what we're going to talk about today. We sent out some information to all of our clients and actually people just on our Facebook group, just to ask what people are struggling with at the minute. And actually, we got back the same three answers, okay? Motivation right now was top. Energy, so I guess they're going to be linked, aren't they? At number 2, and finding the time to exercise or finding the time for you. So those are the top 3 almost core problems which we've had so far. So let's start off with motivation. Obviously, we are in a pandemic and currently we are in lockdown. So motivation might be something difficult to come across. But how do you find people's motivation at the minute, or with your clients? I suppose with online classes, are they still doing classes? Are they still keeping fit? Are they still keeping time for themselves? Or has that kind of dropped a little bit for lockdown 3?
I'd say, I think this lockdown's been the toughest for motivation. I think the first one, it was like a novelty and everyone was like, adapting because it was new, it was different. Obviously the weather helped. So people loved being in their gardens or, that kind of thing. I think since Christmas has gone, and the weather's turned, it's been horrendous, it's dark, January's not the best month anyway. It's just, I don't know, it just hit people differently. I think it's because they didn't expect this was going to happen again, and it happened right off the bat for the new year. So I think, I found a lot of clients really struggle. So it's taken a lot more kind of oomph to get them going, get them moving than you would normally this time of year. And I think also the problem with what people struggle with for motivation at the moment is there's nothing really to look forward to at the minute. Like you'd get a client or your clients come in and be like, right, it's January, I've got my summer holiday coming up, I'm going to book this, I've got that happening, etc., etc. But there's just not that. There's nothing there to kind of feel
that
they can drive for.
I'm just thinking, just as you're saying that, there's no goal.
Yeah, there's no
target, is there? There's nothing to hit.
No, exactly. So it's like then they start to have that, well, what's the point kind of vibe happening, don't they? So they start questioning, well, why should I bother? It's almost like, when someone wants to try and start doing something in December, but they do the whole I'll wait until January thing.
Exactly.
It's now I'll actually do something, but I'll wait until I know I can go on holiday, or I know I want to come out of lockdown, or this, that. So it's like a totally new kind of almost excuse, should we say, to not actually push forward and start now rather than start later.
That mindset, I'm going to eat loads over Christmas because I'm going to do it, but I know in January I'm going to work really hard because I've got that goal, I've got that summer holiday in the summer where I'd like to look good for. I mean, to be fair, that's exactly what I was thinking, and actually pre-recording this, that's exactly what I was thinking as well, because that's why I wore this t-shirt. Last summer when I was doing my training, obviously we couldn't go to gyms or anything, so actually early summer in the lockdown, so I was doing a lot of my training outside, so just with a barbell, some light dumbbells, a running vest, and doing some running. But I was it's difficult, I was enjoying the training, I was working hard, but I was also going through the motions a little bit as well, because actually I didn't have a goal. And I know that's something we've seen a lot on Facebook. There's been a lot of online kind of challenges and goals to help people. And this was something which I did. I did something called the Murph Challenge. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Have you heard of the Murph Challenge?
Yeah, I think I've heard it.
So it's in memory of a Navy SEAL out in America who lost his life. But he was huge into... what's the word I'm looking for? Where they absolutely love doing their pull-ups and lifting their CrossFit. He was absolutely huge into CrossFit and into the CrossFit Games. So he almost came up with his own challenge. And what the challenge was, you have to get basically a running vest and run with 12 pounds or 10 pounds of weight, or it could be 10 kilograms actually. I think it's 10 kilograms. To make it sound better, to make it sound harder, let's say 10 kilograms. And with that, you have to run a mile. You then have to complete 100 pull-ups with this on.
Oh, I've heard this. Yeah.
200 press-ups and 300 squats, and then finish off with the mile run. So I thought for me, that would be almost a great challenge for me to kind of change up my training. And I mean, like pull-ups are hard at the best of time, and I consider myself quite good at pull-ups. But when you put on an extra kind of weighted vest with 10 kg and you're aiming to do 100 pull-ups, there's a certain point where your arms just can't take any more. You physically can't get there. So I had to do a specific amount of training to be able to kind of put all of that together. And for me, I think having that goal helped me kind of push myself more in my workout, which we're going to talk about next, which then gave me more energy.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like I said, having a goal, isn't it? When you've got something to focus on, it's having a specific reason of doing it, isn't it? If you don't have that, then it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Unless you just love fitness and you love moving and you love training for the sake of training. Not everyone does, do they? So
yeah. What's your thoughts on it, Jamie?
I think the type of motivation that you two are both speaking about there is seasonal, isn't it? It's very sort of seasonal based. But if you dig a bit deeper into motivation, you have to think about your health. Your health. So you have to find the motivation to look after your health, and you can't think about the summer holidays or sort of looking good in that dress. It has to go a lot deeper than that, and you have to find it from somewhere.
do you find though?
And the bottom line is, as motivation will come and go.
I'm so glad you said that.
No comment.
That's kind of what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
Motivation comes and goes. So it's almost like motivation, you'll be motivated one day, you will be motivated the next, whether or not you've got a goal, it's a time of year or whatever. It's almost like what they say is motivation comes and goes, but it's your habits which are constant. It's your habits which constantly remain. It's your habits which almost push you through when you're not motivated. So maybe if you wake up one day and you're not motivated, but it's your habit to wake up, have your vitamins, have breakfast, do your workout, your habits will almost get you through it when you're not motivated. So is it a question that actually we need to strip that right back and dig deep and maybe sort the habits out first, because we know that motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes.
Yeah, I think what James says is brilliant in the sense of, what we're saying, like with the whole January thing and everything else and excuses with nothing to look forward to. That's quite a common kind of thing that you always get when someone comes to like a trainer or wants to try and improve something. It's always down to there's obvious goals like holidays and weddings and all this kind of stuff. But weirdly, considering, we're looking at increasing health and fitness as well, or health, so we say, and obviously what's going on at the moment, that's always the one thing that gets put at the back. It's always like more aesthetically, I want to do it, but it's not for actual reasons. I want to actually feel fitter, so I'm more likely going to be more robust if I do ever get this and I can tackle it. So for some reason, going to motivation or say a drive or a goal or a purpose of what you're taking on, whatever they're doing, fitness or just general health always seems to be the last thing on your everyday person's mind. Even if they have been prescribed by their GP or someone, you should really this is the reasons you should do it, maybe, which is really weird. I've always found that a bit odd, why that is not the most obvious reason they should start doing it. Do you ever get that? Or?
Yeah, I get that. And I think if we're say we're going to finish off this little bit on motivation, and it's almost giving tips how people to be motivated. I think you've just given one there, Darren. Obviously, we're in a pandemic, and one of the motivators should be to keep yourself as fit as possible and as easy as possible to keep this nasty disease away. So I think straight away that's almost like a huge why. Have you got any tips for people listening right now, Jamie? Have you got any tips for anyone who's sitting at home and thinking, you know what, that's me. I'm not motivated. What can I do to kind of train myself or give myself better habits to be motivated?
Well, I think so. If we all sit back and say out loud that we sort of lack in motivation, so we all shouldn't. We all do, but we all shouldn't, sort of, due to our health, and so we want to sort of improve sort of how we feel and our sort of longevity sort of in life. But my top tips would be to set sort of daily goals, weekly goals, and monthly goals. So set yourself short-term, medium, and long-term goals, and then your short-term goals will eventually sort of make up your long-term goals.
Yeah.
So the best thing about as a health and fitness is that there's always something that you can get better at or sort of improve at. Yeah. So there should always be a goal. There should always be something that you could achieve, and that could be sort of running a mile sort of in a 10 minutes or something, or sort of lifting a sort of 1 kg heavier, or walking for longer per week. There should always be a goal, and goals equal sort of motivation, don't they?
Yeah, and I think what people should also realise is that actually personal trainers aren't excluded from this. Personal trainers also have dips in motivation as well, where people like to think we're superhuman. Don't get me wrong, we will still get things done, but that's not because maybe we've got more motivation. It could be because our habits and our discipline almost gets us through, and we almost kind of coach ourselves
it's
in that way, don't we?
Yeah, I think it's habits, like we've said a few times. I think, like, for us, doing a session in the gym, or maybe with our food or whatever, it's not like a chore, it's a habit. We just do it from years and years and years of practice, isn't it? And it's just happened.
Habits take years. Years. And they can be kept up in months, like in a 12-week period or something, but habits, as in to be really sort of ingrained, it take years. So that's why you should always have something to strive towards. And it comes back to what I said. You have to, your motivation has got to be sort of for the sort of long game as well. So the health benefits as well. So it can't always be about sort of looking better. In your motivation is to feel better and to feel more confident and to be healthier. Yeah. And that's why I certainly do it as well now.
Okay, let's finish off with the motivation now. Let's move on to energy. So people want to know how they can have more energy. Now, I know it's something that me and you do, Jamie. We like to have a freezing cold shower in the morning. I feel that kind of invigorates me and gives me more energy for the day. But again, for people who are listening, they're thinking, you know what, I've got no energy. I'm homeschooling. I'm trying to work. I'm completely stressed out. So I completely feel like I've got no energy to do anything. What would our advice be to a client who or to someone at home who's listening to this right now? I would like more energy. What can I do apart from having a cold shower?
I would say, well, actually, I've never personally tried a cold shower. It's something I keep wanting to do, but it just can't get my head around it. But I'm going to try it one day. I think the energy thing is, I think more than now that most of us are stuck at home, especially those people that are furloughed and literally have nothing to do, it's almost like you can use an analogy like a computer or a TV. If it goes off on the standby, nothing happens. So, if you're just sitting there, or you're in some kind of really low kind of excessive kind of movement mode where you're not really doing anything, like you might be on the computer for a few hours and you just start to slip off, don't you? You just start to glaze over and you just start to slow down, and you feel physically tired, but it's not because you're physically tired, it's just because your mind's just kind of bored, maybe. So therefore you feel quite just fatigued, but you've not actually done anything. So you can feel like that if that's the basis of most of your days, but when you actually get moving, then things start to change and you actually do start to feel a little bit more energized. So, like, for example, if I can't really be bothered to train myself and I've got to do it, I will just do something really silly, like just grab a pair of dumbbells or something relatively heavy and just walk around carrying them, just to get my heart rate up, just to get my body moving, feeling alive. And then you'll suddenly just have this rush of energy, just because your body's waking up, almost like a car battery. It's dead because it's been left there for a while and it just needs a little jump start, and then it's back. So a lot of the time it's like that. It's just that we get a little bit dormant and we just need that little waking up, because we just haven't got used to moving, or it's mostly, I think, tiredness is two different things with the body and the mind. You can mentally feel tired, but physically you're not.
Yeah.
So it is a mind over matter kind of thing most of the time. Yeah. Otherwise, it could just be so many other issues like stress. What's your sleeping pattern like? Even if you have a pattern these days, because people that might have had a routine of work that now don't work, might get up at 10 in the morning, go to bed at 2. You know, that kind of whole thing could be all over the place. And food, all these other things can be kind of like turned upside down because of what's been going on in the last year. So
I
these
like
factors,
analogy, which you said as well, because obviously when we're talking about cars, I'm sure we've all said this to our clients. We talk about cars, almost the petrol, the diesel, the fuel we'll put inside the car. So if people are literally living off coffee and sugary snacks during the day, then obviously there's going to be a huge dip in energy, and then they'll grab the next coffee to almost pick themselves back up again, but then probably then have a bad night's sleep or watch Netflix a little bit late because they want to get that extra episode of a certain box set in, which then will then make them feel extremely tired the next day and have no energy. Have you got any tips, Jamie, for anyone who's at home now who's lacking energy? Is there something simple that they can do to increase their energy, or maybe a food type they could eat?
I would start off their day with some sort of movement. I wouldn't stay by your desk for too long. Sort of have breaks and sort of get up, sort of do some exercise as at 10 minutes or so. And sort of just make sure that your food intake is quite stable in terms of the food choices that you're sort of having as well, because your food will give you obviously nice energy, as in stable energy, or it'll go up and down. So top tips is sleep, sort of movement first thing in the morning, and don't eat like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, there we go. I think we'll use that for the.
It's for like worse.
For the title of this. I suppose it's what they do, what the Chinese do, don't they? When working in the offices, when they go there, they all do some sort of movement together in their work clothes. You see them, hundreds of people in their offices doing some sort of Tai Chi, yoga.
It's a lot of breath work they do as well, don't they?
Oh, what's that? What's that?
Which increases productivity and energy in their employees.
Well, it's if you get more circulation through the body, then you kind of you're thinking more on your feet, aren't you? You're literally more awake and present. Whereas if you drift off and you're just literally staring at a monitor or whatever you're doing, which is very mundane and boring, you just start.
Just going off topic slightly. So what's that place in America? That massive company. I'm not sure whether it's Google or something like that, and their sort of offices have sleep pods.
Yeah, I think
or something like.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. It's Google, isn't it?
So I think like most as of big companies like that have either places to rest and nap, so you're obviously getting more sort of energy back, or sort of they have sort of gyms, don't they?
Yeah.
So they have gyms to take time out.
Yeah.
Do they call them sleep banks or something? Yeah, it's something I've read like that. I can't remember.
Pods,
I can't remember.
I mean,
sleep pod. Yeah.
I went to the University of Bedfordshire last year, and they were trialing an office or an office desk at the top of on a treadmill. So you're standing on the treadmill, walking as you're on a laptop. Now, I'm not too sure if that's going to be picked up with health and safety, but you can see obviously the thinking, the reasoning behind that. Someone's standing up, their posture's good, they're walking, they're keeping their blood flow. And even if you worked in that position for half hour, an hour a day, the amount of steps you'd get in as well, that could be a huge positive for someone's overall health and well-being. I mean, let's finish off with the last one then, because that probably links into the energy. And when people say, I've got no energy, I can't find the time, is how do people find the time? People say, look, I've got no time for exercise right now. I've got this going on. I've got that going on. What would you say to that individual who's struggling to find the time to do something like that, to exercise or find some time for themselves?
I would say personally, it, you know, it's quite harsh. You have to be kind of quite direct with someone who says they haven't got time, because like I said to you before we started, we've never had more time ever than we do right now. Obviously I get it with like homeschooling and trying to, if you're running a business or whatever you're doing, it is quite tough, but you still always have more time because our social kind of side of life has been taken away almost. So you're not like, you know, doing all the other things like seeing family, friends, etc. So you have a little bit more time than you may have already had before. But I think a lot of it comes down to your environment. So if your planning and environment is a bit disorganized, then your time is going to be lacking.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're finding that maybe just for something as simple as your phone, you know, if you have too many apps that are going to have updates and notifications that you don't even need or want, you're going to spend looking on something like your phone, and then 10 minutes later, you've just wasted 10 minutes not really doing anything. So it's a little bit of pre-planning and your actual environment, not just your home, but, you know, your life. And it's just accruing time and thinking of time as money, I suppose. If you spend it, you're not going to get it back in the sense of, well, you can't with time. So it's just being a little bit more kind of hesitant on how you can waste time. And then also finding ways of how you can make time, because we whenever you have someone that says like, I haven't got 20 minutes or half an hour to exercise, it's nonsense. If you're blunt about it, we all can find 20 minutes or half hour a day at some point. It's just being a little bit more savvy about how to manage your time. And it's, you know,
I've got a saying which is kind of running through my head as you're saying it. It's from Arnold Schwarzenegger, actually, when someone said to him, "Oh, you know what? I haven't got the time to exercise." And he said, "Well, how many hours sleep do you have every night?" And the person goes, "Well, I'm having 8 to 9 hours every evening." And he's like, "Well, you don't need that. You need 7." And he goes, "Just sleep a little faster." Just sleep, have 7 hours sleep, just sleep a little faster, get up earlier, and
well, it's true, isn't it?
And work out. But I think you raise a valid point there with planning as well. Obviously, being able to kind of plan, maybe, because when we're talking about it, how much time do we need to work out? I mean, I personally know my workout today only lasted for 25 minutes, but it was quite high intensity. And actually, you don't need very long to be energized to get something done. Maybe people are thinking, well, I need time to go for a run, or I need time to do this, I need an hour, I need an hour and a half. You don't. You need something, a very short window, 15, 20, 25 minutes, something for you. And that could be very simply either planning your days better, or maybe waking up 20 minutes earlier, which we can all do, which isn't a huge ask.
Just a quick one on that. You know, if we've got an iPhone, I don't know if they do it on Android phones. Have you ever noticed that they tell you how much time you've been on your phone at the end of each week?
Yeah, screen time. Yeah.
Straight away, you can see how much time you're kind of wasting just by screen time, you know, and that's a biggie. That's easily transitionable into actual exercise time, or just, you know, free time in that way.
Jamie? Because I know you're quite strict on this. When people have asked you or said to you in the past, you know what, I've got no time for exercise. What would you say?
No, look, I will include myself in this. We can all find an excuse to say that we haven't got time, and we can all find the time to do something. So we can, it works both ways. And we can speak our way out of it, and we can speak our ways into finding the time. And when people say that they haven't got time to go to the gym, I would agree with that with most people, because when you go into the gym, you might have a sort of 10 or 15 minute car journey, and then you got to get changed, and then you do your workout, and then you got to get showered, and then you're back. So that's obviously around sort of two hours at least.
Yeah.
But when people say that they haven't got time to do something to make themselves feel better and to sort of work out or something, I sort of like Darren said, I think most people can find 30 minutes a day somewhere.
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes a day, it's something.
And whether that be on their lunch break or getting up earlier or last thing at night, most people can. And we all waste time during the day, sort of doing something, mostly on our phones, because that's the way of the world, isn't it? But no, look, I do get the whole gym thing sometimes, but I don't get the whole finding time to look after yourself on a daily basis. So I think a lot of it down to sort of time management and not wanting to do enough. And as you both said, so all it takes is alarm to be set sort of half hour earlier, or go to bed earlier, and then sort of start your day earlier, and then go bed earlier or later. So no, I think it's most of it is a bit of a excuse.
Yeah,
sometimes.
I think that's a really good recap as well. Just if people are wondering how to have more energy, try and, if you can, plan your days better. Try and find that time. It doesn't need to be like an hour. It could be a 20-minute walk with a dog. It could be 25 minutes doing some whatever HIIT body workout at home. It's just finding that time, or if you can't find it like that, then maybe wake up 20 minutes earlier and do that. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger says, you don't need whatever 8 hours you need.
I think
now just faster.
That's it. I think like what Jamie said earlier, it's links everything we just said together. Is like you're motivated if you're going. If you picked up momentum, you stay motivated. Obviously, motivation doesn't stay for a long time, but if you've got momentum, you keep going, don't you? If you've had if you've trained one day, then a few things have popped up and you've not trained for several days, it's harder to get back to it. But if you do something each day, and I think maybe some people think that they can't effectively do an exercise session if it's not an hour. They have this like 60-minute kind of like thing. You can pretty much do something in 20 minutes. But if you did it in 20 minutes every day or every other day, then the volume is still the same as if you were only to do 1 hour every twice a week or something. So maybe it's just like micromanaging your time, thinking if I did 20 minutes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then something quite, more time based allowing on the weekend, then I'm still getting the volume accrued than if I were doing like 3 hours solidly. And obviously practically I don't have the 3 hours at one time to do. So it's, looking at it in a way that suits your lifestyle rather than you trying to make your lifestyle suit something else.
Yeah. And
let's base it. No, go on.
No, you go ahead, Jamie. You go ahead.
And let's base it on the worst case, worst case, because we've all been doing this a long time, and sort of people have long days at work, So let's base it on the worst case that someone gets to train at 5:30 in the morning, and they're up at 5:30, and they're out the door by 6, and they get home at 7:30, because that's quite a intense schedule.
Yeah.
5 days a week, and so we all sort of admit that. So you've got two options. You're not going to do it well. Very, very little people, including myself, so getting up at 4 to work out that is what I call airport time. Anyway.
Yeah, you have to be a special individual to do that.
Yeah,
I mean, I struggle training before 12. So.
No. So your only times in black and white are lunchtime or after 7:30 in the evening.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
They're your two choices. So you have to. They're the only times.
Yeah. And
so you have to find something to do at then or then.
Yeah, and I
think that's simple, isn't it?
After listening to you both as well, I mean, possibly this could be a nice way to almost finish the show off, but looking at the 3 things we've discussed: energy, motivation, and finding the time. It's almost down to this planning. So you need to plan. You need to sit down and have a think. What I want to achieve. What's my goal? How am I going to challenge myself? Right, I'm going to do this. I want to achieve that. Right, that's the first bit. How am I going to achieve that? I suppose that's our main role as trainers and coaches, is almost we break that goal down and then we kind of map it out. And we all know clients, once they're in momentum, like you've said, they're absolutely buzzing. They've got energy, they're sleeping great, they're getting results, and they're in that almost that good cycle. At the minute, everyone's in the negative cycle. They're not really moving enough. They're not really motivated. They're not having the energy. So it's almost finding that goal, making sure that they can plan the time to be able to do that. And like you said, as soon as you've got a little bit of momentum, but going towards that goal, that's going to be the easiest and quickest way for anyone listening today to have more energy, more motivation, and actually you will find time to exercise.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just keeping it going. But like hardest part is always starting, isn't it? Like everything, but it's just there's always a way around something. Like Jamie was saying, I have loads of clients that do that early start, late finish. it could be something as simple as maybe just focus on your steps during the day, and then just 20 minutes of strength training at home or something, every other day type thing. There's always ways around it. You don't have to commit to an hour or an hour and a half each training session. Just adapt to be as realistic as you can with your current lifestyle, and that fits to everything. Because everyone's individual, aren't they? So not everyone can do a 5-day split, or can do 3 hours a week, or can do whatever. It's down to what's happening with you,
Small goals. Perfect. Well, I think that's a perfect way to finish the show, guys. Thank you very much for jumping on today. And I will catch you both soon. Have a great week.
Will do. It was a pleasure.
You guys, take care.